Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Welcome to our viewers to our live pledge interview from our studios in Sunny Hill, Johannesburg. Joining me today is Hassan from the Islamic Adawah movement. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, Hassan.
Wa alaikum salam, and a pleasure to be on with you.
You're welcome, most welcome too. Hassan, tell me some information about the Islamic Adawah movement of Southern Africa, the background, where it began.
IDM was established in 1978 by our founder, Dr. Ibrahim Dawah. And it's actually a very beautiful story, how the whole concept began. He was out there in Marion Hill, which was a very impoverished area at the time, and he was there as a doctor taking medicine to the people over there. And at that point, he heard some children reciting surahs and Qurans, and him with a couple of his other peers, they came to understanding that there's Islam in this rural area. And it was at that point IDM was born, because from that point on, our founder, Dr. Ibrahim Dawah, he decided to forego his career as a doctor and dedicated his life to Dawah. Subsequently, we have grown immensely over the last 40 years, and we now have 70 centers across southern Africa, and these centers comprise of masajids and classrooms, libraries. There's a whole lot of stuff that we'll talk about a little bit later in, but that is ideally the core, and this is where IDM began.
That's interesting. And the 70 branches, is it branches or buildings that you'll have structured?
There's 70 structures. So our head office is based in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban. But each of these centers are masjids that are fully fledged, that have with it, in most scenarios, classrooms attached to it, and they serve as community hubs. The focus, or the core focus of IDM, and as we've evolved through the years, is that when we take Islam in terms of dawah to rural regions, we want to create the best impression, and follow in the Sahaba concept and the same footsteps the Prophet ﷺ, he preached, and that is by showing and giving Islam to people by its character. And the character of the Prophet ﷺ is something that we ask our du'at and our imams to emulate, and this is what brings communities to the deen of Allah. And for this, or by this, the construction of a masjid and community centers becomes integral, because we create a place where most of these rural areas, I'm just going to deviate a little bit, because we're so used to our city structure that sometimes we can't fathom rural life, and it's a township life is very different to urban life. So building a community structure, in some locations there's no other proper structure in these areas. It gives communities a place to come in, to trade, to exchange ideas, to discuss community matters and things like that. And when you make that masjid the central focus of this, it adds onto what deen is and what Islam is, and how Islam affects the world. So it makes the task of doing dawah that much more easier, because people can see it. They can see what Islam is by the children in the madaris learning, and the imam and how he's interacting and how he's giving, and the feeding schemes that we run, and all the skills development programs that we run at these centers. And that is the core focus that we've now slowly come into, in terms of creating these centers. We call them centers. Essentially, they're masjids with classrooms and imams' quarters and community-based applications. Yeah.
And these 70 centers that you've created, how are they maintained in terms of logistics? Are they teams on the ground that are basically handling all of the issues?
Yes. So with regards to that, obviously admin work is a crazy task. But what we do is, alhamdulillah, we have a good staff complement at our head office, and each of our du'at have access to us every month, where they come through to the head office, and we do something called an in-service training, which is also a reporting structure for us, where they come in, they tell us what the happenings at the center, their needs, their progresses as they go along, and it's assessed, and then through the next month, we assist them as best as we can over there. So by and large, it's maintained, or I wouldn't say maintained, it's taken care of by the duat that we train and we deploy to the center. The maintenance itself is catered for completely by us, alhamdulillah, with sourcing of funds from generous donors and other revenue streams that we have to assist us in running these centers.
And in terms of the projects, how do you handle such a high amount of 70 centers? How do you get the projects done in different centers?
It's all needs driven, so no two centers have the same sort of needs. They're all community based and driven. So each through a reporting structure that is quite tiered at our head office. There's a nice chain of command where the guys have a need that gets put forward to the Dawah network that we have. That need is then assessed, and someone goes out to see the viability of it, and there's a whole project scope that goes in to try and determine how best we can execute an idea, or alternatively, if it's not a viable idea, it's something that we change off to something else. So we encourage the duat to look at a different aspect of it. And I think the strongest part of that, it will say, is the team at our head office. They help us maintain the centers. The ones that are external, which is outside of Southern Africa, those are, for the bulk of them, they're quite independently maintained through the same reporting structure, but most of this is from the Qudrat of Allah. It is what He requires, and we're just there to execute His plan.
And how many centers do you have outside of Southern Africa?
So within Southern Africa, we're at 35 centers, and the balance of them then reside within Maputo and Malawi.
Okay. And in terms of the projects, what are you busy with at the moment?
There are many projects that we're busy with at the moment, and it's an ongoing task. And one of the main ones that we touch on is women empowerment. Women empowerment has come to the forefront in the last year and a half. There's been a lot of gender-based violence and need to empower our mothers even more than we have been doing in the past. So we focus a lot on creating platforms for them to enhance their skills, either through recognized certification or alternatively through short courses that allow them to bridge that gap in terms of what deficiency they might have from their normal surroundings. To this, we also initiate creches. So for our mothers, we understand that there are a lot of single mothers out there and they can't just go out and learn. So most of our centers, alhamdulillah, we try to establish a creche. So the mother comes in, she knows her children are taken care of while she's in the next building and she's learning. And of course, all of this is we don't charge for. It's something that we do purely as community-driven upliftment projects.
Alhamdulillah. And have you been finding any challenges now during the COVID pandemic?
The challenges have been vast, mostly because funding is obviously always key to this. To sustain any non-profit organization, we need the help of communities. And because COVID has taken such a toll on the economy at large and normal people, funding is obviously has shrunk. So that has been a challenge for us. And then just implementing safety measures and proper social distancing, it takes a little bit more to get people used to the idea and to the concept of social distancing, but obviously trying to protect them. With most of the rural centers, the need is there because for many children, the meal that we provide is the only meal they have for the day. So for them not to come to the center is a difficult task. So we can't ask them, stay at home. You can stay, and it's not practical for the duat to take it out to them. So we've had to adjust the way we approach our meals and all of the other support that we give to the people of our communities.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. We'll be back after this short break with more information about the Islamic Dawah movement of Southern Africa. Welcome back to our viewers. Joining me in studio is Hassan from the Islamic Dawah movement. Hassan is sharing with us information about the Islamic Dawah movement and the work that they have effectively done around Southern Africa and abroad. They have basically about 35 centers in the country and more in Southern Africa, hey? Outside of Southern Africa. Okay. Hassan, you brought these beautiful Qur'ans here and you were going to tell us more about the Qur'ans. Please share with our viewers.
Alhamdulillah. I think one of our main focuses, has been the Quran. I'm sure, I know I've said main focuses a lot, but when it comes to dawah, when it comes to spreading the deen of Allah, this is the most integral part of any work that we do. And over the course of the past few years, we have embarked on projects where we've now translated the Quran into 6 official Southern African languages. And we're currently in the final stages of vetting for the last 2. They've been translated. They just need to be verified by Shuyukh. And there's 2 that's been completed. And we started on a 9th one as well. And the need for this is that understanding the Quran is a pivotal point of gaining closeness to the Almighty and to gaining closer to your deen. And now more than ever, especially this month, it's the month of the Quran, Ramadan. Understanding what is being read is key to changing oneself. And this was a luxury not known to many other South Africans. Although there are many English Qurans available and translations between Arabic and English, there hasn't been many in the different languages. And we've found that translating the Quran and providing it to communities and new Muslims in their language, it aids them to embrace the deen of Allah that much more. It aids them in adopting the lifestyle that is prescribed in the Holy Quran that much more easier. So the Quran has become an integral portion of what we do at IDM. And Alhamdulillah, we have plans to continue translating into as many languages as possible. And for this, this is one of the things we want to speak about on our pledge tonight. Our focus tonight on the pledge is to get viewers to aid us in printing more Qurans. The need is great. In the Eastern Cape itself, we've got a need for Xhosa and Afrikaans Quran. There are hundreds of new Muslims that are yearning for the word of Allah. And abroad, in our neighboring countries like Mozambique and Maputo, where the languages are predominantly Portuguese, we've translated the Quran successfully into Portuguese, into a very easily accessible version of Portuguese, because there's so many different dialects, but one that is now so accessible that we've had calls from Portugal itself and South America for the Qurans, and we just simply cannot provide enough of it, because Islam, by and large, is growing at such a rapid rate globally, and it's something that we don't really take cognizance of. I mean, we are aware that Islam is growing. We're now 1.8 billion strong in the world, but it's growing. And as it grows, the need grows, because the language of the people differ. And people want to know the meaning of what's in the Quran. They want to know, how it'll affect their lives, how it'll change their lives. So it's of the utmost importance that we make the word of Allah available to everyone in as many languages as we can.
It's so true what you're saying, because the word of Allah must be able to be understood by various people from different nations, especially people that don't speak English, because you normally find it translated in English, and those who cannot speak Arabic. You mentioned there were 6 languages that they were translated. You were translating, your organization's translating
yes.
to. Can you tell us the
So
6 languages?
we've got Afrikaans, we've got Xhosa, Sotho, with Zulu, and Portuguese, and Chichewa, which is native to Malawi, and the new iteration that we're working on is called Sitonga, and Alhamdulillah, it's South Africa has 11 major languages, so we aim to include all of those, but expand beyond our borders as well.
Yes, a great initiative. In terms of the organization to fulfill the task of printing more Qurans, how much do you actually need to fulfill this task?
This is an immeasurable amount, but all we can say is that for us, we aim to print at least 10,000 Qurans every 6 months, right? Which sounds like a small number, considering we have distributed over 120,000 Qurans so far, which is a massive amount and an accomplishment in itself. But we'd like to do 10,000 prints of each language, and this will make it more accessible to everyone. The only stumbling block that we've reached is that although we give it out free, printing cost still has to be paid, and for this we appeal to donors, we appeal to the public, we appeal to everybody out there that look at it as a form of sadaqah jariyah for loved ones and those that have passed away. It's an everlasting reward. It's something that as long as somebody is reading the harf in this Quran, you will get a reward from it. As if there's someone who becomes a hafiz by the virtue of a Quran that you have donated, you will get the sawab from it. And we appeal to people because we can't do it without the public. We cannot get the word of Allah out there in the numbers that we want without the assistance of the people.
And in terms of the projects that you're busy with, what sort of support do you need from our viewers?
Alhamdulillah, I think this filters into 2 aspects. One, obviously, there's the financial aspect, which we speak about a lot, because we need the support. We want people to help us print the Qurans, contribute towards the water wells and the boreholes that we erect at all of our centers, because water is obviously life. And we want people to aid us in the women empowerment projects where we try and take care of mothers. But the other aspect is we also require warm bodies. People to come and volunteer and give us their time and their expertise. You have professionals, engineers, people who are skilled at law, teachers, doctors, many professionals out there that can give back to the community. We need these people to also aid us and contact us, because there are many communities out there that just need that glimmer of hope, that guiding light that will take them from a feeling of desperation to a feeling of hope, to know that someone out there cares, someone out there loves them, because this is the true spirit of what it is to be a Muslim. The true teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, be compassionate, be kind, and so warm bodies and volunteers is something that we cherish and we hope more people can give us. And further to that, we understand people can't always sacrifice their time, and if you can't do that, then assist us financially, assist us in printing the Quran, assist us by giving water to those that are in need,
In terms of, I'm coming back to what we were talking about earlier and how the organization was doing its work during the pandemic. Has there been public calling the organization constantly? What sort of trend have you been noticing?
There has been a desperate aid coming through, and then through different mechanisms that are in place through multiple NGOs, we try and attend to all of these things as best as we can. there has been a desperate cry. I mean, to say that there isn't a need and there isn't a significant failure or problem in terms of our community structures would be an absolute lie, because there is one. We have to help the people out there. And COVID has shown us that we all need help, no matter who we are. And the public has called us. The people call us for aid and things like that. Unfortunately, we're not a welfare organization. We do assist as best as we can. Our main focus is to promote the deen of Allah. But during COVID, we had abandoned this, and this concept in favor of aiding the communities in that regard. So in terms of our communities in Cape Town, we provided them with COVID hampers. We established platforms for them, those that have lost their jobs, to find mechanisms to try and find jobs, or skills development programs where we try to inculcate people to try and uplift themselves. So we try to shift our focus over COVID purely because of this. And alhamdulillah, it's progressed. You know, there has been improvement since then, but I don't think the worst is over yet. And I think we still need to be very, very much in tune with ourselves and make sure that we help people that are in need.
Yeah, you're right. We're still in the middle of this whole pandemic. In terms of the pledge, it's at 8:30 this evening. What can the viewers expect?
Tonight we have a very dynamic team. We have Brother Idris Khamisa, who's a motivational speaker. He's going to be on. Abdul Haq Minak, he's ex-cricketer, sports person. He's going to be there. We have Sister Zahira Bam, a well-known personality and advocate for a humanitarian in her own right. Dr. Ibrahim Dada, he's going to join us as well, our founder. He'll be here as well. And with that, we have many other affluent businessmen that will be joining us, who support us and support the initiatives that we do. And the primary focus of tonight's pledge is, like I said, we want to be able to print Qurans. We want to be able to take the word of Allah to Africa, to all of the people there, because there is a need. It is not something that we're doing and we're asking for because we just want to print Qurans and we stockpile them in a warehouse. No, there is an absolute need. We get calls daily. Brothers, I want 100 Qurans. Brothers, please can you send us 500 Qurans? We get calls from South America. We need more Portuguese Qurans. You know, it's something that in one front, you feel stifled because you don't have enough to give them, but there's also such a joy that you get, that you realize that there's so many more Muslims in the world. There's so many more brothers in the world that are coming out of there. And ultimately, this is the benefit. This is the growth of Islam. This is where, we always look at things from this slightly skewed perspective. Islam has been oppressed since 9/11, and, everyone's against us, and the people in France, and they're oppressing our sisters in the hijabs and things like that. But the converse is also true, that Islam is growing at a phenomenal rate. And we need to have the Quran in everyone's home.
Definitely. Do join us this evening at 8:30, where there'll be a live pledge here on ITV. There's going to be a dynamic team this evening, so please do stay tuned. And inshallah, if you can, dig deep into your pockets and contribute to the IDM, as they are doing phenomenal work around the country. Inshallah, please invest in the Quran for them. And at the same time, please contribute towards charity in this month of Ramadan to this dynamic team from the IDM.